For the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight's invocation is being offered by Pastor Stephen Merriweather of Emmanuel Baptist Church. He is the guest of Council Member Emily Evans.
Thank you. Let us pray. Kind and gracious God, we begin with gratitude. Gratitude for the day and your provisions therein. And we're confident that even in this evening, you have looked ahead on our behalves. As we enter this season known for gratitude and thanksgiving, our lists are long, but one thing that all of us share in common is a gratitude for this place we call home. We call it Nashville, a place that we know deeply and care for and want its best. So I ask your blessings now on each resident, the strangers, our guests who come our way, and on each councilman and councilwoman here this evening, as they consider the welfare of this city and its residents. Give them wisdom, give them courage, and give them the peace that sustains them. Thank you for each house represented here. Bless them, I pray, for I pray it with hope and in faith. Amen.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of our minutes from October the 16th? And second, without objection, the minutes will stand approved as written. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There is a message from the mayor. Dear Vice Mayor and members of the Metropolitan Council, pursuant to recently adopted regulations of the Tennessee Comptroller's Office, when the Metropolitan government undertakes a draw from one of our two commercial paper programs, the attached report must be submitted to the Metropolitan Council and presented at a meeting of that body before filed with the Comptroller. As you can see from the attached, on October 15th, we issued $50 million under the General Obligation Commercial Paper Bond Anticipation Notes Series A. Please find a link to the offering memorandum and the city's investor relations link for additional information, or the investor relations page. Sincerely, Carl F. Dean, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councilmember Moore, did you wish to be recognized?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like for PAC 21 to stand, please, at this time. They are here working on their citizenship badge, and they had a tour of our council chambers as well as our council office. And I want to just say to the young men, good luck to you and much success. And I want to thank Mr. Carter, Ms. Wheeler, for coming out along with the parents. Could y'all please stand as well? Because you all just as supportive. So thank you all so much for coming out and working on your citizenship badge.
Councilmember Stein, elections and confirmations.
We're doing health and educational facilities first. The committee met with the two nominees for the Health and Education Facilities Board, Mr. R. Walker Batts and Ms. Susan Tenney, and by a vote of 4, none against, we certify their ability to serve.
Is there a motion for their being approved by acclamation?
I would then move their election by acclamation.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Mr. Batts and Ms. Tenney, would you please stand up? On behalf of the council, thank you for your willingness to serve, and we hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Councilman Stein.
I apologize, Madam Vice Mayor. I was so hopeful we were going to have a machine vote on that we...
We'll get to that.
The The committee interviewed for the Alarm Appeals Board 2 reappointments, Mr. Marcel Hernandez, Mr. Randy Woodard, and by a vote of 4-4, none against, we recommend their approval, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Community Education Commission, a first-time appointment of Mr. Brian Gilson. The committee, by a vote of 4-4, none against, votes to recommend him to the full council, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
For the Metropolitan Development and Housing Agency Board, the reappointment of Mr. Ralph Mosley. The committee votes 4-4, none against, to recommend his approval, and I move his approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
And for the Transportation Licensing Commission, the reappointment of Mr. Sam Patel, 4-4, none against. We recommend his approval, and I so move.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. When I call your name, please stand. Marcel Hernandez, Randy Woodard, Brian Gleason, Ralph Mosley, and Sam Patel. On behalf of the Metropolitan Council, thank you for your willingness to donate your time and your expertise to our great city. Thank you very much. We're now at bills on public hearing. I have a few announcements I need to make. The machines are not working correctly tonight, so the bill numbers will not be posted. You will need to pay attention to the bill number when it's called out to see if it's the one that you want to speak on. We can do a machine vote, but you will not be able to see the machine vote. If we come to that point, we will be calling out your name to confirm that you voted either yay or nay on it. Are there any other? I think those are. Oh, and the timer when you're standing to speak, either if you're speaking on a public hearing bill from the public or during the course of our other business, the timer is not visible. The beeper to tell you that your time is up works. You just won't be able to track how much time you have left because it will not be visible on the screen. We apologize and we understand that this is going to be repaired first thing in the morning, but we'll make it through tonight. The first one is BL 2012-263, applies a historic landmark overlay to properties located at 1622 Fifth Avenue North and 1612 4th Avenue North. Councilmember Claiborne.
Open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing none on either side, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Claiborne.
Move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-264 amends the Metro Zoning Code pertaining to the legislative alteration of zoning code standards when amending a planned unit development approved under the authority of a previous zoning code. Councilmember Stites. We'll move that to the heel of the public hearing items. BL 2012-273 changes .25 acres from RM20 to ON zoning for property located at 1208 Hawkins Street. Councilmember Matthews.
Madam Vice Mayor, I'm going to handle this bill for Council Lady Gilmore, and I do believe that, was it deferred by rule in committee?
This one, we just need the public hearing.
Public hearing? Well, let's open up the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support of 273. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition to 273. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public, okay. Please state your name and address.
My name is James C. Turner Sr., 907 15th Avenue South. I'm pastor of the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. And in support, I guess I need not to state anything, but to let you know of our presence here in this meeting tonight on concern for our church movement of ministry in the neighborhood of the community. So, in support of.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Matthews.
Committee reports at this? No. Well, I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-274 changes 14.51 acres from R10 to RS10 zoning for various properties located along Lafayette Court, LaSalle Court, Lincoln Court, and south of Leake Avenue. Councilmember Evans.
Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Please come to the lectern and state your name and address, please.
My name is Shepley Smith, and I live at 115 Lincoln Court. And I'm here tonight to represent our neighborhood, who I can tell you is overwhelmingly in support of this particular zoning change. I have the petitions with me to support that. But we are here really to protect the integrity of our neighborhood, which we feel is being jeopardized by some recent development and some investors in the area. And this is a change, like I said, to support that. We feel like we're presenting a proposal that still allows for some density in the neighborhood. I know that variety of housing is a concern of the commission. I think we have a proposal that still offers that. But again, and we've also explored other options with our council member Emily Evans around pursuing design standard changes and things like that, which we know we can do. But for us, time is of the essence. We don't want to lose ground and see more homes in our neighborhood torn down and replaced by these other structures. So we are hoping that you will support, again, the vast majority of our neighborhood in the pursuit of this zoning change, so we can support and protect the existing homes and the integrity of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Evans.
I'd like to move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-275 changes 2.2 acres from MUG to SP zoning for property located at the northeast corner of 16th Avenue North and Clinton Street to permit building contractor supply, light manufacturing, warehousing and storage, artisan distillery, microbrewery uses, and all uses permitted by the MUGA district. Councilmember Matthews.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Matthews.
Yes, I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-276 amends 7.58 acres, the Metro Center Auto Facility Specific Plan District for properties located in the 1900 block of 5th Avenue North, 6th Avenue North, 4110 Clay Street, and 501 Dominican Drive to allow for CS signage standards for all signage within the specific plan district. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Langster.
Yes, Vice Mayor, I'd like to move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2012-277 changes .64 acres from R15 to SP zoning for property located at 1813 Golf Club Road to permit a building contractor supply use and an office use. Councilmember Jernigan.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Open public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Jernigan.
I'd like to move approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-278 changes 1.1 acres from R6 to CL zoning for a portion of property located at 412 Brewer Drive. Councilmember Blaylock.
Thank you. I move for indefinite deferral at this time.
Have a motion and a second for indefinite deferral. All in favor, please say aye.
Thank you.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-279 changes .26 acres from SP to RM20A zoning for property located at 24 Lincoln Street. Councilmember Moore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing none on either side, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Moore.
I move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-280 amends the Metro Code pertaining to the membership of the Historic Zoning Commission. Councilmember Claiborne.
Open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing none on either side, the public hearing is closed.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, BL 2012-264 will be deferred to our next meeting, next public hearing. Okay, we will. I need a motion to defer to the first meeting in January. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now on resolutions. Those on the consent agenda are, let's see. I will read the ones that are on the consent agenda first, and then you can let me know if any need to be pulled. RS 2012-264 elects 2 members of the Board of Directors of the Health and Education Facilities Board. RS 2012-465 approves an application for a state Homeland Security grant to the Metro Government for Homeland Security Preparedness Activity. RS 2012-468 approves a memorandum of understanding between the Metro Board of Health and Nashville Electric Service to provide worksite POD for medical professionals to distribute antivirals in the event of a public health emergency. RS 2012-469 approves a memorandum of understanding between Vanderbilt University and the Metro Board of Health for the training of medical residents in the tuberculosis elimination program. RS 2012-470 approves an intergovernmental agreement among the federal government, the State Department of Health, and the Metro Board of Health regarding the administration of vaccines for underinsured children. RS 2012-471 approves an intergovernmental agreement between the State Department of Health and the Metro Board of Health regarding a non-recurring vaccine appropriation. RS 2012-473 authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the claims of Mark White and Martha Stevens against the Metro government in the amount of $13,400. RS 2012-474 authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of White Southerly against Metro government in the amount of $35,000. RS 2012-475 authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the claim of the estate of Mavis Combs, Vicki Spurlock, Mary Shawhan, William Peterson, and Mavis Liu against Metro government in the amount of $67,618.80. Bills memorializing resolutions is RS 2012-477, requests the National League of Cities to hold its 2015 Annual Congress of Cities and Exposition in Nashville. RS 2012-478 supports the reducing of greenhouse gas pollution under the Environmental Protection Agency Clean Air Act. RS 2012-479 recognizes Emmanuel Baptist Church on its 125th anniversary. RS 2012-480 recognizes Jane Alvis for her distinguished service as chair of the Metro Nashville Arts Commission. RS 2012-481 recognizes and congratulates Becky Beasley on being selected the Metro Nashville Public Schools 2012-2013 Teacher of the Year from Una Elementary. RS 2012-482 recognizes Ruth S. Curry for her accomplishments in the field of cheerleading. RS 2012-483 honors Judge Betty Adams Green for her distinguished service as juvenile judge over the last 14 years. RS 2012-484 recognizes and congratulates Taffy Hauer on being elected the Metro Nashville Public Schools 2012-2013 Teacher of the Year from Lakeview Elementary Design Center. RS 2012-485 recognizes manager Joey Hall, his staff, and the 2012 Goodlettsville All-Star Little League baseball team. RS 2012-486 recognizes Mr. Thomas D. Melton upon his retirement from the Metro Water and Sewage Department. And RS 2012-487 recognizes Nashville Municipal Auditorium's 50th anniversary. Are there resolutions that need to be pulled from the consent agenda? Councilmember Weiner.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. 2012-467 needs to be pulled at the request of the Health Department.
It's not on the consent agenda. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. Councilmember Claiborne.
You didn't include RS 472, right?
It is not on the consent agenda. No.
Right.
Correct. I did not read it just
Okay,
now. I only read
good.
the
Thank you.
consent agenda. Councilmember Matthews.
466 is not included on the consent, is it?
It is not on the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Just making sure.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any others on the consent agenda? I need committee reports for those items on the consent agenda. Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 465, 468, 840 against, and 469, 470, 471, 473, 474, and 475, 940 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Weiner.
Health and Hospitals approved 468, 469, 470, and 471 and 478, 540 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Bennett.
Public Safety approved 465, 640 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Stein.
Rules and Confirmations approved 464, 477, 479, 480, 481, 482, 483, 484, 485, 486, and 487, 4 none against. And I would move approval of the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we will go back to the ones that are not on the consent agenda. The first one is RS 2012-466, accepts a donation. Oh, no, this one is moved to the, we're moving this to the hill of the agenda. Sorry, that will not be considered right now. Next is RS 2012-467, approves a grant from the State Department of Health to Metro Board of Health to reduce the risk of adolescent diabetes through physical activity and exercise. Councilmember Weiner.
Now it's been pulled at the request of the Health Department.
Could I, Councilmember Matthews?
And we approved 5-4-0 against.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance voted to withdraw, 8-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Weiner.
We approved 5-4-0 against.
And your motion is?
And my motion is to withdraw.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion to withdraw passes. RS 2012-472 authorizes Hard Rock Cafe International USA, Inc. to install, construct, and maintain an aerial sign encroachment at 100 Broadway. Councilmember Matthews.
Okay, I believe this bill was deferred by rule in Planning and Zoning. Am I correct, Councilman Claiborne? Committee reports.
Councilmember Potts.
Public Works voted to defer by rule.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to defer by rule.
Councilmember Matthews.
Because of a time-sensitive issue with this particular legislation, I would like to ask for a suspension of the rules and have this considered tonight.
Is there any objection to a suspension? We have one objection. Okay, Councilmember.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. RS 2012-476 approves the election of certain notaries public for Davidson County. Councilmember Davis.
Yes, committee report, please.
Councilmember Stein.
Rules voted 4-4, none against, as amended for approval.
Councilmember.
Move approval as amended, please.
Move the
Or move the
amendment.
amendment, please.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes. Councilmember Davis.
Now I'd like to move it as amended, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the bill as amended, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We are now at bills on introduction and first reading. Are there any that need to be pulled? Councilmember Moore.
Could you pull BL 2012-293, please?
Okay. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to pull BL 2012-304 and BL 2012-305, please.
Okay, first is BL 2012-293, an ordinance amending Chapter 2.78 of the Metropolitan Code pertaining to the future operation of the Tennessee State Fairgrounds property. Councilmember Dominy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I ask your approval of this on first reading with a brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second. Councilman.
This was brought up regarding the future of the property. Of course, the voters voted on that. In fact, everybody sitting in this room had that issue on their ballot in August of 2011. And this is just to simply ask for information about potential investors in the property. It doesn't commit us to anything. It doesn't change the master plan process. It just asks for information. I have communicated with Council Lady Moore in September before it was discussed before the Fair Board. The Fair Board members present at that meeting supported us getting this information as part of our deliberative process when we consider the master plan in a few months. And so I ask for approval.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Moore, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I do. Pursuant to Rule 8, I move to defer this by rule.
We have a motion to defer by rule. Mr. Cooper, would you like to explain the rule?
Rule 8 provides that if legislation, the subject matter of which only affects one district, if the district council member is not a sponsor, then it is to be deferred one meeting, which in this case would be until next Tuesday.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Duvall.
Thank you. Point of order, this is now a county-wide issue based on the referendum. It's not one council member's issue any longer. This has been put before the people, and they've indicated that they want it to be a county-wide change.
The rule, the language of the rule is not very artfully worded, but the 11 years that I've been here, it's been interpreted to mean the district where the property is physically located. We had the same issue with the stadium, which was subject to a referendum, and the council member for the area that the stadium is located was always listed or given the opportunity. So it's just a matter of interpretation, and that has traditionally been the interpretation.
Yeah. But past precedence doesn't make it right.
That's up.
Thank you.
Just giving
Thank you. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Councilmember Blaylock.
Yes, I just was wondering what the reasoning for the deferral is.
The rule that states that the council member that represents where the property is located needs to be a sponsor.
So is it just a deferral for one meeting, though?
Yeah, till next Tuesday.
So what's going to happen between now and then?
It's just a deferral by rule. It's not for any specific purpose.
Okay.
Councilmember Stein.
If the rule is the rule, then I'm not quite sure why we have to vote on it. I mean, it's the interpretation. Either it violates the rule or it doesn't. If it violates the rule, it's deferred automatically.
By one meeting.
So the rule is that this will be deferred automatically by one meeting, according to our council rules. Next is BL 2012-304 and 305. 304 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, by amending the David Lipscomb Institutional Overlay to add property located at 4109 Belmont Boulevard, zoned R10. 305 is an ordinance to amend Title 17 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws, the zoning ordinance of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, by amending the David Lipscomb Institutional Overlay District to make modifications to several buildings located within the existing overlay district zoned R10, all of which is described therein. Councilmember McGuire.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. For BL 2012-304, I would move to withdraw.
We have a motion we have a motion and a second. All in favor of withdrawal, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. For BL 2012-305, I would move to defer to the first meeting in December for the purpose of having it track for the January public hearing.
We have a motion and a second for a deferral to the first meeting in December. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Is there a motion for all other bills on first reading? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We have, now we're at bills on second reading. First one is BL 2012-281, amends the Metro Code to transfer the administrative support of the Transportation Licensing Commission to the Department of Public Works. Councilmember Bennett.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Potts.
Public Works voted to approve 7-4, against.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 9-4, 0 against.
Councilmember Bennett.
Public Safety approved 6-4, against, and I do believe we have amendment to move on this one.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes.
I would like to move it as amended, please.
Have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-282 amends the Metro Code pertaining to certified payroll record retention and inspection requirements. Councilmember Berry.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Banks.
Personnel, Public Information, Human Relations, Housing Committee approved 5-4, against.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved as amended, 9-4, 0 against.
Councilmember Berry.
Yes, there is an amendment. I'd like to move the amendment, please.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you. I'd like to move the bill as amended, please.
Have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-283 amends the Metro Code's provisions pertaining to commercial solicitations. Councilmember Claiborne.
Vice Mayor, I'd like to move to defer this bill to the second meeting in December and make a brief comment.
That'd be great. I need a couple of committee reports first.
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 9-4, 0 against.
Councilmember Bennett.
Public Safety approved 6-4, against.
And we now have a motion to
Defer until the second meeting in December
we
with
have
a brief
motion and a second.
explanation.
Councilmember Claiborne.
This is a bill that a number of folks have been working on for at least a couple of months, and I want to thank Chief Anderson, the Madam Clerk, for her involvement in this, legal department, Mr. Cooper. Lots of work has been done, and we are trying to make this bill the very best that it can be. The reason for the deferral is that we need a little more time to tweak it just a little bit more to make it even better than it is. And so that's the reason that I'm asking for your approval to defer it for the second meeting in December.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-284 amends the Metro Code pertaining to the use of speed cushions as part of the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. Councilmember Stanley.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Harrison.
Traffic and parking by request of the sponsor deferred 2 meetings.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance disapproved 10-4, 0 against.
Councilmember Potts.
Public Works voted to disapprove 6-4, 1 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Stanley.
There is an amendment in the hands of the Metro Council, and I would move to approve this bill with the amendment and then defer it to the second meeting in December. And I want to have a couple of comments with this.
Well, first we'll need to move the amendment.
I ask that the amendment be moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Sorry, Councilmember Matthews.
Mr. Cooper, can you explain the amendment, please?
Yes. The amendment is housekeeping. It corrects the section number of the code that's being amended. It does not change the text of the bill in any way.
We have a motion and a second on the housekeeping amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes. Councilman Stanley.
I move to defer this until the second meeting in December with a couple of comments.
I need a motion to approve the bill as amended.
I move that the bill be approved as amended
And
deferred.
okay.
Did you want it approved on second? No, I think you just wanted it deferred.
I just want to defer it.
Oh,
on
I'm
second
sorry, I
reading. don't want
misunderstood
to
you
meet-
earlier. My apologies.
Well,
Okay, Councilman.
I appreciate everyone's input on this issue. This is a big issue. These speed cushions are a tool that is used by the Public Works Department as a part of their neighborhood management traffic program, and also known as traffic calming. But they've backed off of using these speed cushions. These speed cushions have had a very reliable and valuable impact on slowing, reducing speed, and reducing the number of non-resident commuters along narrow residential arteries throughout Davidson County. I have one street in District 14, and the residents along this street would like to have these speed cushions placed. But the Public Works said, no, we're not going to put them up there because it's up to the Department of Public Works to determine whether or not we're going to put these things up there. They're not including the input or the opinions from the tax-paying resident citizens of this street. So I've had a lot of input from individual council members that say they want to cooperate with me to develop a bill that will more thoroughly impact the use of speed cushions in this neighborhood management program. And I look forward to working with them, but I also look forward to working with the Metro Police Department, Chief Anderson. I also look forward to working with the Department of Public Works, with Mark Macy. I spoke with him. This deferral will allow this bill to go before the Traffic and Parking Commission in December, before it comes back here. But I want everyone's support because we are responsible to the citizens of this city to protect their investments, especially the resident homeowners in Davidson County. So I look forward to your support in this as much as possible. And I do move deferral at this time.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-285 approves an agreement between the State Department of Transportation and the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for the lease of property to be used as a greenway trail. Councilmember Moore.
Committee report.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 5-0.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 10-0.
And Councilman Dominic.
Parks voted to approve 4-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Moore.
I move for approval, please.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-286 approves a renewal of a lease agreement between the U.S. Army and the Board of Parks and Recreations for Lot 2 Park. Councilmember Claiborne.
Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Dominic.
Parks voted to approve 4-0.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted 5-0 to approve, and I would move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-287 approves a lease agreement between the State Department of Transportation and the Metro Board of Parks and Recreation for property located along the Harpeth River in Bellevue and approves a sublease of the property to the Harpeth Youth Soccer Association. Councilmember Weiner.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 5-0.
Councilmember Dominic.
Parks, Library, Recreation, and Public Entertainment Facilities Committee voted 4 to approve and 0 opposition.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 10-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Weiner.
Move to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Councilman Mitchell.
Yeah, Mr. Cooper, in the lease, do we know anything about access on this lease? We've got a canoe ramp that's on this property as well, and I'm trying to figure out if in the lease, if the gate needs to be open so the public can have access to be able to get to this canoe launch. Do you know if anything's in the lease regarding that?
I don't recall anything about that specifically. The lease with the state is just that the property be used for park purposes in general. The sublease to Harpeth Youth Soccer Association is specific to the soccer complex, but there's nothing that I can recall.
Before the next meeting, can you check on that so we can see, so the public can actually have access to this park? Thank you.
So noted. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-288 authorizes the construction and maintenance of wetland migration projects in Bellsman Park and authorizes the execution and filing of notices of land use restrictions regarding the projects. Councilmember Matthews.
Committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to approve 5-0.
Councilmember Dominy.
Parks Committee voted to approve 4-0.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 10-4-0 against, and I'd like to move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-289 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by abandoning Johnstone Court right-of-way. Councilmember Todd.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Claiborne.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to defer by rule 5-0.
Councilmember Harrison.
Traffic and Parking deferred by rules, 5-0.
Councilmember Potts.
Public Works voted to defer by rules 7-0.
Councilmember Todd.
Move to defer one meeting.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-290 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by abandoning a portion of Music Circle East right-of-way. Councilmember Matthews.
Let's suspend the rules. 290, what's this referred to public? Yeah, committee reports.
Planning, Zoning, Historic voted to defer by rule 5-0.
Traffic and Parking voted to approve 5-4-0 against.
Public Works voted to defer by rules 7-4-0 against.
I'll ask for a suspension of the rules on this bill as well, if I could.
Is there any objection? We have one.
I'd like to move approval.
Motion passes. BL 2012-262 amends the Metro Code pertaining to honorary street signs. Councilmember Matthews.
All committee reports in, I'd like to move approval as amended.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-265 names the bridge on Georgia Avenue over Richland Creek in honor and memory of Audrey Baker. Councilmember Tiger.
Move approval with a brief explanation.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Tiger.
My only comment is to thank Councilman Garrett, who wanted to participate in the financial obligation of the signage, and I thank Tim for his participation.
Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I proudly stand in support of this legislation. To the council members who were not with us last term, this is a picture of Audrey Baker. As you can see, she's a very beautiful person from the outside as well as inside. And ironically, her passing will be 1 year on Thursday. She was the proud wife of my seatmate, Councilman Buddy Baker. She played a special role in my life also that I'm very proud of. And I just want you to know that this is really a true honor to a wonderful lady. Last term, you could always see her sitting on the front row. She was very visible. She was always there. She never missed a council meeting. And if you want to stop by my desk and get a closer look of her picture, please don't hesitate. And with that, I want to thank Councilman Charlie Tiger for bringing such a precious piece of legislation forward, naming it after such a wonderful, wonderful lady, Audrey Baker. Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-266 amends the Metro Code pertaining to health insurance benefits for members of council after they leave office. Councilmember Claiborne.
I would move for approval and have a brief explanation.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman.
I've talked over the past couple of weeks with a number of folks who voted against this bill on the second reading. And it's the basic thought from those conversations has been that they see this benefit as an incentive to those who would run for council, and that taking it away would discourage qualified candidates from running from the office in the future. My response to that has been that an insurance benefit should not be the motivating factor to run for a council office. Beyond that, I've found in those conversations that a lot of people who, like me, when I ran for council the first time, I had no idea that a subsidized insurance benefit would come with being elected to the office. To those that have this objection, I would say that keeping the benefit is not going to solve the deeper problem that you're concerned about. That being the creation of incentives or perks to encourage people to run for this office. I don't disagree with you that the council is undercompensated for the work that we do, but that is a deeper problem. That is a problem that needs to be addressed at a different time, and I would suggest that the Vice Mayor and some of you folks sitting on the front row would need to consider starting that conversation before this council term ends in 2015. In 2015, it will have been 13 years since the council's compensation was set at the current level. And so it is perhaps time to start a conversation to look at possibilities for increasing that compensation some way. To include in the council budget some funds for mailings or for travel, other things. I don't know what that might involve, but as I say, that's another conversation. My motivation for bringing this forward was very clearly stated in the article in the paper this morning. I was accurately quoted as saying, after raising taxes earlier this year, we should be willing to send a message to the general public that we are serious about cutting the cost of government where we have the ability to do so. Currently, there are 32 former members of council who have this health coverage benefit. That is at a cost of the city each year of around $300,000. Not a great deal in the grand scheme of things. There are currently 22 members who are sitting in the council presently who have the insurance benefit, who may carry that forward after they leave council or they may not. But an actuary study of this benefit a couple of years ago indicated that if it is left unchanged, it will eventually cost this city millions of dollars. After voting last month to follow the recommendation of the study and the formulating committee to raise the vesting period for new Metro employees from 5 years to 10 years, which includes that subsidized health benefit, it's totally inappropriate that we as a council demonstrate the ability to lead by example and to include ourselves in the process of making the cost of this government more affordable. This has been approved unanimously by the Budget and Finance Committee. It was approved unanimously by the Personnel Committee. And so I'm asking you tonight to do the right thing and support this measure with your vote. Thank you.
Councilmember Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Also in that article that was mentioned by Councilman Claiborne, it was stated that if we're going to ask other departments to sacrifice and if we're going to make cuts to our government, then the council should lead by example and make cuts as well. The problem that I have with that argument that was proffered is that if we are going to make cuts or if we're going to vote for legislation to show by example, then we should not exclude ourselves, for those of us who are sitting in here, from those cuts. To me, it is not courageous to offer legislation stating that we will take away a benefit from future councilpersons and then exclude ourselves that are sitting here who are voting on that and exclude ourselves and take advantage of that. If a public policy is good for this government, then we should include ourselves when we vote for it. If the public policy is not good enough to pass by including us, then that should tell us something. My last point is this. I cannot vote for a legislation that I intend to take advantage of a benefit and then take that benefit away from future councilpersons. If we're going to vote yes, then we should include the members of this body. To me, it is hypocritical to vote yes for this and exclude ourselves from it. For those who are concerned about future politics, to me, if you think this is such good politics, then you should include yourself in it. And we should amend this, defer it, amend it, and include every member of this body to vote to take away this benefit. Thank you.
Councilmember Bedney.
First, I would like to thank Councilmember Claiborne and the others for trying to find ways to reduce cost and improve the budget in the city. I really think that this is framed the wrong way. I was also quoted on the paper. I mean, he probably couldn't get anybody else to talk to. My point of view is that this is framed the wrong way. I mean, it's not about, nobody here, I'm pretty sure that if I ask around, nobody said, hey, I need health care, so I'm going to go and work for a year, knock on doors, bug my family, just do all this extra work and then get elected and work less on my regular job, lose all this money on my regular job so I can have health care. I mean, that is not the reason we do this. I mean, to assume that this conversation is about perks, I think it's a lack of, it's framing this conversation the wrong way. What this should be is somebody is getting ready to make a choice to run for office. Is that person going to say, I have to work on providing for my family, I have to think about my future, or I'm going to be running for office? We should make it to where that person feels comfortable that he can provide for his family and he doesn't have to worry about losing his benefits at his regular jobs because he's now going to be working part-time or having to take a break for work so he can serve this city. So for me, we're looking at this, the way this was presented is looking at the issue the wrong way. It should be about making sure we don't discourage anybody, any great candidates from running for office. And I'm sure this happens to all of you. I get people that call me all the time that can't believe I won, and so they want to know how did I do it. And so they want to talk to me and learn about how to run for office. And when I start explaining to them what it takes, most of them say, well, this is not for me. And we don't want that. If we have smart people out there, just like we heard a lot about the private world, the private corporations, how they, that this wouldn't happen. Well, corporations that manage the budget we manage, which is over $1 billion, They do try really hard to find the best people out there. They give them bonuses, sign-in bonuses. They do all kinds of things to get them to work for them. This body and it has a huge responsibility in administrating the wealth and future of this city. And we shouldn't really try to push anybody away just because we are concerned about saving money. If we want to save money, we can light candles and turn the lights off. And we can do many things to save money, but will it be effective? So thank you. Sorry for the long speech.
Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since the sponsor made reference to conversations he had with people who voted no, I wanted to inject into the record. I'm sorry, Councilman Claiborne, I didn't return your phone call. It came to my home phone, and I rarely check messages on that one. I do check my cell in my office, but and I voted no last time, and I didn't vote no because I was worried about the incentive. I agree with a lot of what Councilman Bedney has said, but I voted no because the problem here isn't that we have a health benefit for the 40-member council. The problem here is that because we've had that health benefit for many, 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 many years. The problem is that we have 100% turnover of 40 members every 8 years, which is unlike a lot of local governments across this state, and that's unlike a lot of local governments in this country. Through a charter amendment, the public imposed a term limit on us, 2 term limits, which I think I agree with Governor Bredesen, I think has been nothing short of a disaster. I think it was a bad idea then. I still think it's a bad idea. And I think that it is something that really should be addressed in the context of today's world of government and operations. And I don't think what Councilman Claiborne is proposing actually addresses the real problem here, which is every 8 years we have to field a new 40-member team. I mean, it's already a big team, and every 8 years it turns over 100%. So that's why I voted against it, because it's not really addressing the issue or the problem. And I'd urge everybody to vote against it, and let's start talking seriously about the cost of this legislative branch and what it should look like in an era that is dramatically changing for governments everywhere. Because I think that's what we really should be spending our time on, not these small little changes that don't really address the true problem. So I'm voting no, and I hope you do too.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm a little confused about this whole bill because, I keep reading about what the council is getting, and particularly when I hear this statement about lead by example, like I've been hearing that an awful lot lately. There's no way that I can understand somebody telling me to lead by example when you got a 40-member body that's getting a fraction of the benefits that the state and federal people are getting. We do the same thing and more, in most cases, work harder than the people up on the state. They got 100 and some odd people up there. They do the same thing that we do, supposedly. They get lifetime benefits. They even go to jail and get benefits. And you're going to sit here and talk about what few pennies this body get is hypocritical, and it's not leading by example. It's actually misleading the general public, because I don't think the general public know how much money and the benefits the state get. Not only do the state get it, I was in Congress for 10 years. I'm still getting benefits from the 10 years I was on the federal level. So when you start talking about what we do versus the money we get, you need to make sure you tell the public the truth. That's all I got to say.
Councilmember Baker.
Previous question.
Have a motion and second. All in favor of previous question, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Previous question passes. We will have a machine vote. Madam Clerk,
Close it.
you want,
Close it.
Aye, 23 noes, 0 abstentions. Ayes, Berry,
please acknowledge you. Okay.
Stein, Garrett, Tigard, Banks, Jernigan, Stites, Claiborne, Weiner, McGuire, Blaylock, Duval, Todd, Mitchell. No, Maynard, Matthews, Harrison, Hunt, Scott Davis, Westerholm, Anthony Davis, Bennett, Pridemore, Pardue, Stanley, Tenpenny, Moore, Allen, Baker, Langster, Evans, Holloman, Domney, Johnson, Potts, Bedney, Dow.
The motion fails. Next is BL 2012-267, authorizes the Nashville Downtown Partnership to install, construct, and maintain underground and structural encroachments at various locations for bike kiosks. Councilmember Westerholm.
Move approval.
We have a motion. Is there a second? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-268 authorizes the acquisition of property located at 6950 Charlotte Pike for the Davidson Branch Equalization Facility Project. Councilmember Potts.
With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-269 authorizes the acquisition of property located at 826 Kamek Court for a reservoir and retention basin project. Councilmember Potts.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-270 accepts 868 feet of an 8-inch water main, 1,284 feet of an 8-inch sewer main, and 2 fire hydrants on property located at Duncanwood Drive unnumbered. Councilmember Potts.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-271 abandons approximately 570 feet of existing 10 and 12-inch sewer lines and an easement on property at 1515 DeMombrian Street. Councilmember Potts.
With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2012-272 amends the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance map by changing the name of portion of Powell Avenue to Old Powell Avenue. Councilmember Tenpenny.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Did you wish to speak on this?
Not this.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is RS 2012-466, accepts a donation from Charlie Tigert to the Metro Public Works to cover costs associated with the Audrey Baker Memorial Bridge sign. Councilmember Matthews.
Committee reports.
Councilmember Potts.
Public Works voted to approve 7-4-0 against.
Councilmember Matthews.
Budget and Finance approved 8-4-0 against, and I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilman Claiborne, you wish to be recognized?
Yes, ma'am. Just a brief comment. As Councilman Stein articulated a little earlier, if the rule is the rule, it should be the rule. We have a rule in this body that says if you have a bill before on the agenda and it's coming before committee, that individual should appear before that committee or should have a letter expressing their desire as far as the direction the bill should take. We have become increasingly guilty of avoiding that rule and requesting a suspension. So I just want to go on record as saying, now that we have tonight's business done, that I will be joining Councilman Tigert in objection to further suspension of the rules when it deals with people who have not taken the minute or less that it takes to call one of the secretaries in the office and request them to do a note to send to a committee expressing why they can't be there. So it's my understanding that 2 objections are ample to keep that rule from being suspended. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I'm on record as saying that I'm joining with Councilman Tigert going forward. There may be exceptional circumstances, but as a general rule, I will be the second objection.
Councilmember Bedney.
As chair of Education Committee, I want to I'm going to start doing what he just said, and I will also object, so there'll be 3 of us.
Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye.